diets, there's actually certain smoothies you mix together yourself. You can actually feel the person about how they benefit your health. They affect your thyroid gland, which makes you burn more fat quite quicker as well. So when you know what smoothie you make, depends on how it's going to affect your body. You know. So that's why I say people should look into this. How you actually what smoothies you take, how it's going to affect your body, your health. You know.
That's true.
Because I say depending on what you're drinking. Because all these health people come up with different tips. So I would say people put this post about how it causes you to lose fat, works on your muscles. Actually, the same about beetroot can actually help with any heart attack comes, so you don't have a heart attack while you're sleeping.
Well, I know that lemon water. Well, that's why you would have you can have aspirin regularly. It thins your blood. But I was having lemon water for my acne, you know. So whenever I have lemon water, well, my bumps go away. My acne.
But all about mixing I think about something about mixing salt with I think it was lime juice or something that helps me around acne. Mix with a slight bit of pepper as well. It helps me clear your skin up as well. It's really potent. I actually now found on Facebook. Somebody actually came back.
I just had to take out my headphones real quick so I can, because it was tied. There was a knot in the headphones. Now they're good. I can hear you now.
Yeah, apparently it's people saying about people about putting pepper in the mix with the lime juice, but it helps you clear skin. Somebody I looked it out, when I watched some post on Facebook about these health smoothie things, and mixing pepper. And mixing, also about doing something about getting rid of kidney stones through mixing, olive oil, just like a teaspoon of olive oil with, I think it was watermelon and something else. It will clear kidney stones up and clear everything else out as well.
Right.
So,
Well, that's kind of cool. We were talking about relationships, indivisible relationships. That's another way we can use the word. Indivisible relationships.
Yeah.
I was looking up the definition of indivisible because somebody had said invisible in the chat, and it reminded me of whenever I was younger and I used to we used to have the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning, and so I would always say invisible with liberty and justice for all, but it was actually indivisible. And then I searched the meaning for indivisible, and it is how do I say it? It's indivisible. It means unable to be divided or separated.
Yeah, from people. That means you can be. That's like me. That's like me knowing yourself. We can be like that. We can't be divided because we are our own trinity.
Right. It's unable to be divided or separated.
Mm-hmm.
So in a marriage where both people love each other and are, committed to each other, it's indivisible. Or in a friendship that you are committed to
But
Gosh,
we
golly
must be all
gee.
connected to the Alaska. Everyone's different. That's like when I was told, when I did some research about travel. So when I was doing research about travel, I found that if you go somewhere like Dubai, they've got Uber in Dubai, it's best to go to save yourself money with an app called Careem.
Cream.
In Dubai, it's cheaper. Careem, yeah. And then in the Philippines, you go with an app called Grab.
Grab app. Whenever I was a kid, we used to in New York. There's crabapple trees everywhere, and we used to collect the crabapples. We used to have baskets on the front of our in the front of our bikes, and we used to collect the crabapples, and we used to throw them at the teenagers.
Wow.
Because we were younger than the teenagers, and the teenagers, we had like bike clubs. So if you had a bicycle in the neighborhood, you would be a part of somebody's bike club, and we used to ride around with our bikes, and we would collect crabapples, and because the teenagers would always prank us, so we collected crabapples, and we would throw crabapples at them. And then we would collect rotten crabapples sometimes, because if it's on the ground for too long, it would become rotten. And then so we would collect rotten crabapples, and we used to throw them at the teenagers. We would hide away in trees, or we would hide away where in a ditch. We'd have a ditch or something, and then we would put like a crate. If there was a divot, we'd put the crate above the divot, so we would hide under it, and then we would hear them, because they used to put baseball cards on their bikes to make it sound like a motorcycle. So we would always hear them coming around, and we'd have to hide because they would try to beat us up. So we would hide, and we would throw crab apples at them. We would throw rocks at them sometimes, but we didn't throw rocks because sometimes we'd get in trouble with their parents. So we would throw crab apples at them, and it would stain their shirts with the smell of rotten crab apples and stuff. It was hilarious, because once you throw the crab apple at them, it would kind of.
I just got scammed by Norton 360. So I paid my bills on the 1st of August, okay? And Norton claims that they filed a automatic payment withdrawal from a closed debit card ending in 51 something something something, and let's be honest, they can't effing do it. When a card is closed, and it's been closed for years, and it's on record, if we were going to subpoena that bank would be screwed, because they would not just owe the thing.
I need to be angry. Maybe
if they don't pay it forward, I'm trying to get you angry.
I don't trust.
Why will you come to see me?
So
I'm a true believer.
Let's be honest.
Come on, tomorrow I will be.
Would you believe? Would you let a company do that to you? Would you let them railroad you, or would you sue them for what you're owed?
Shit happens.
Because if you think about it,
that's all I can say. Shit happens. I don't tend to be all up in arms about stuff that I can't control. So better yet, just to accept and just go with the flow. Because you know, sitting
So
here
did you-
talking about your
So did you-
information on, you know, your cards and stuff, that really doesn't have too much to do with the stream, because, you know, it's more, you know, railroading. It seems as though you're kind of railroading the conversation to be about, you know, something about default. And default, the definition of default is a failure to fulfill an obligation, especially to repay a loan or appear in a court of law. So if you're appearing in a court of law, you must be on point with your assets, and you must be on point with your point of view and your modus operandi, because you know, no response from the companies is showing you that something must be different. You know, you have to change something, you have to tweak something. And to have, you know, something that is, if you're continuing on the same path without, you know, checking yourself, you know, and checking how you know, view things, because, you know, sometimes people become, or companies might become jealous of your spending habits. So, you know, they might have the intuition to, you know, hack your account, you know, or if you are, you know, not on, you know, whenever we were talking to Dylan last night, it was something similar, because Dylan used to always support my streams. He would always type in the chat, and that's how people knew him. They knew him from, you know, he wasn't defaulting. He was, you know, he was making initiative, and he would always be consistent. He would always be nice. He would always, you know, defend me, or if I said something wrong, he would always, you know, kind of correct me to make sure that I'm not making an ass of myself. And so, you know, people used to recognize that, and recognize that he cared about how the overall experience was. And so people would follow him, and, you know, he has, you know, a large percentage of my followers, and, you know, he's not number one on my board yet. You know, he might be number one on, you know, or close to the top with my star points and stuff. But, you know, if you would realize that, you know, you have to be consistent, and whenever you're consistently inconsistent, you know, you throw people off. And, you know, just as you streaming on multiple apps, you know, you have to find a middle common ground, because if you have over 20,000 followers and you are all over the place, you're making it hard for people to keep up with you. You're making it hard for people to relate to you. You're making it hard for people to be serious with you, because, you know, if you are constantly all over the place, you know, and your mood is shifting, and, you know, what you're talking about is shifting, and you act in certain ways and then you play in certain ways, you know, you have to make sure you're breeding contentment. And it's not necessarily neutrality. Breeding contentment is the fact that you don't have a certain stance on something, and you have to have a certain stance on something. You know, Petra's over here saying I wasn't paid. You know, this is great feedback, and, you know, this is something that a professional would tell you. You know, a professional would, you know, mention to you. And whenever you unload all your stuff, and, you know, you don't properly compartmentalize it. Now, I know that compartmentalization is something that is, you know,
evacuated. So I'm going to do everything in my administration to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And I'm going to punish that bank or that credit union because they did illegal activities.
Without anything advances, you always have a good bank or good social workers or bad secretaries who don't know what they're doing. You know.
Yeah. It's just like how it pisses me off on how they won't let Spicy go on holiday. You know, they have no right keeping him in that country. He wants to see his wife. Why are they not doing their job?
That's basically
It's not government control, but the government pays them to.
Yeah.
But it's like you and me was discussing about having an organisation where they